Shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, before I get into my lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders, a great millstone that teach and that rule well today, and peace and salutation also to the fellow laborers that's in the ministry, and the believers that scatter worldwide in all truth and sincerity, day in and day out. Once again, I'm the brother Shaquat Gabar coming at you with another quick lesson, chapter breakdown of Obadiah 1, okay? And I'm going to brief through it, okay? And right before I get into this lesson, this message goes out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites according to the Bible. And also to the Israelite foreigners that are scattered amongst the heathen nations that may take on the physical appearance or look of another nation. But if your bloodline goes back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent by the seed of your father, you are considered an Israelite as well. Once again, Shalom. So basically, I'm just going to get into, like I said, Obadiah chapter 1, going into the characteristics, okay, of the biblical Edomites, okay, which are the so-called white race today, okay, mainly the elites that's in power, okay, these central bankers that call themselves the Illuminati or the illuminated ones, okay, which the word Illuminati or illuminated means bearers of the light, okay. When it comes to the Edomites today, okay, like I said, these central bankers that's in power, and down to the average Edomite, okay, over here, okay, in America, okay, over there in Europe, okay, Australia, okay, Russia, okay, Edomites, simply, okay, when it comes to the so-called white race, okay, as we're approaching now, they downfall, man, okay, when it comes to the exposure of the wicked, okay, and they are the wicked according to the scriptures, okay, Malachi chapter 1 verse 4, okay, but now as we in their rulership, now we come to the downfall, as I saying, okay, as the Lord has now exposed them by the way of the Hebrew Israelites, okay, by the way of the scriptures that the Lord has set up, the prophets, okay, through the street ministry, okay, and his word being published as well on the internet. And now we're coming to, more and more shameful spewing of Esau Edom history. Okay, we know about the heinous captivity, okay, how this place America was established off the enslavement and bloodshed and, rape, rob and murder of the Hebrew Israelites, man, okay, when it comes to Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay. And we come to the understanding that those false identities was given to us by our oppressor, okay, through this government system, mainly the school system, okay. We know about the history of Esau Edom lies, okay, and now we come to the point of their agenda, their NWO that they want to establish, but that's being exposed, okay. Now here in 2025, okay, we see that these elites want to move forward with the NWO, okay, when it comes to ultimately when they want to implement the RFID micro, okay, which is known as the mark of the beast, okay, according to Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. Revelation chapter 13 verse 16, okay, that's going to replace the physical dollar, okay, when it comes to these elites agenda, okay, at this place about the witness of financial crash, okay, and civil unrest, okay, martial law, detention centers, okay, etc. When it comes to these elites trying to enforce the NWO. But with us that's in the faith, we come to the understanding, okay, at the end of it, okay, that who the world called Christ, Yahweh Shai, okay, is going to return at the peak of the Third World War, okay, by the way of the chariots, what the world called UFOs, which are the vehicles of the angels, and how Yahweh Shai is going to come back and wage war against these heathen nations, stomp with the biblical Edomites, okay, and that's going to lead to, like I said, the peak of the Third World War, this place America ultimately being destroyed by the way of thermonuclear missiles. Okay, and the only ones that's going to be delivered from out of that great destruction is the elect of the nation of Israel, which we'll consider the 144,000 and the 1/3 that are destined to be saved. Okay, when it comes to the elect, because 2/3, of course, is Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, of our people going to be judged here alone in America. Okay, right along with the rest of these heathens. Okay, because when it comes to the original heathens or Gentiles, okay, they don't have ain't no salvation for them. Okay, matter of fact, once this place be destroyed, okay, the heathen nation is going to go into captivity, starting with the elites, because the elites going to escape the damnation of the missiles, okay, as they're going to be in their retreats, just to be reserved to be the first ones to go into captivity once Yahweh Shai established the kingdom, okay, and the Lord delivering the elect, okay, by the way of the chariots from out of the great destruction, okay, and we're going to rule over them. But let me go ahead and get into Obadiah, okay, the breakdown, okay, and I pray that the lesson is edifying. So Obadiah chapter 1, verse 1, and it says, the vision of Obadiah, thus say the Lord Yahweh by Shai concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord Yahweh by Shai, and the ambassador is set among the heathen. Yeah, and the Lord raised up the prophets at this time. Okay, because not only we out there, okay, also the ones that's involved in this ministry. Okay, not only that we out there to teach repentance, okay, to you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, okay, that you the Israelites, and come back in the knowledge of Yahweh Shai, your true power, okay. But we also out there to prophesy the downfall of the heathen nations, okay, and in particular Esau Edom rulership, okay, and tell them about their future judgment. As I say, they about to go into captivity, okay, once Yahweh Shai return. And it says, arise ye, let us raise up against her in battle, okay, and that's what the times we're coming into, okay. That's why you're seeing the coming of the Third World War. Okay, these nations gathering together to come against, to go against each other. Okay, and eventually they're going to come against the West. Okay, and sending their missiles upon this place, America. Okay, and over there in Israel. Okay, where chiefly Edomites are ruling today. When it comes to Amalek. Okay, the head tribe of Edom. Okay, and the land of Israel is going to be destroyed or be cleansed by missiles. Okay, by Russia as well. Okay, destroying America. Okay, Russia destroying America and Israel. Okay, but the difference between the two, okay, Israel gonna be built back up by the true rightful owners. Okay, which happen to be us, Negroes, so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans. Okay, when the Lord cleansed that land, okay, as those phonies are occupying our land. Okay, but that land gonna be built back up by the heathens through captivity. Okay, but America, once it be destroyed, it's never going to be built again. It's going to become a desert. And the only thing that's going to inhabit this place, okay, is desert-like creatures, okay? But now you're starting to see the gathering of the Third World War, okay? And it says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. Are you seeing that now? Okay, especially the Amalekites, okay, the small hats, what we call them. Okay, but all these Edomites being despised, okay, by these other nations. Okay, when it comes to infighting amongst each other, amongst them, okay, the division amongst the Edomites, okay, so they being more and more despised, man, okay, especially, like I say, chiefly, the exposure of the small hats, okay. Verse 3, the pride of thy heart had deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks, whose habitation is high, and that say in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Okay, that heart, their pride going into their mind frame. Okay, as they trying to force the NWO. Okay, thinking they're going to continue on to rule forever. Okay, and it said, thou that dwellest in the cliffs of the rocks, going into, because we know Esau Edom, okay, is known for, being in the caves, man. Okay, that you had the term Caucasian, okay, from out of the Caucasus Mountains, okay, meaning cave dweller. Okay, and we also know about their history when it comes to Mount Seir, okay, Mount Petra, okay, how that was their stone age, Okay, being in those, mountains. Okay, you look up Mount Petra. Okay, Mount Seir. Okay, which are both the same. Okay, and you see which is a tourist site now. Okay, but when you see Mount Seir and Mount Petra, the build of it, okay, is built just like um uh, um how America is built when it comes to like certain Capitol buildings. Okay, and that's why when it comes to America, okay, when it comes to the habitations, you got the skyscrapers, okay, which most of them built out of stone, okay, because they remind them of the caves, okay, the cliffs of the rocks, okay, they got the like I say, certain Capitol buildings, okay, um, concrete, okay, when it comes to certain cities, okay, because they remind them of the caves, okay, and it says whose habitation is high, okay, that say in his heart going into their mind frame, okay, because now we at the time now they got their technology, okay, their advanced military, okay, their weapons out of space, okay, their space force, okay, they got their satellites out of space, okay, they fighter jets, they planes, okay, so through that pride or they thinking through their technology and the blessing of the sword, okay, they think they're gonna rule forever. And it says, whose habitation is high, that say in his heart, okay, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, okay, and the eagle represent, symbolic for Esau Edom, okay, because the eagle is known for a prideful bird, okay, and it fly the highest out of any other bird, and it's also a predator, a hunter, and that's the characteristics of Esau Edom, okay. The scripture says Esau Edom was a cunning hunter, okay, and what's the symbol, okay, of America today, okay, the eagle, the bald eagle, okay, so that represent their pride, man, okay, and though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, okay, going to, like I said, these space stations, these satellites, okay, these, weapons out of space, okay, able to have the vehicles of, airplanes, okay, fighter jets, okay, and also leading to their pride. And it says, this will I bring thee down, say the Lord. And the Lord gonna bring him down, starting with his truth, okay, and ultimately when Yahweh shall return, okay, and take him out of power by the way of the chariots. Because like I said, at the peak of the Third World War, Yahweh shall is gonna return, and these nations gonna be fighting against each other. But then Yahweh shall is gonna intervene, okay, and the Lord gonna put the spirit on these nations, okay, at the peak of the Third World War, to come against Yahweh Shai, okay, or to fight against Yahweh Shai and the angels, okay, the chariots, okay, in which that's going to lead to their destruction, okay, and that's going to lead to them going into captivity, starting with Esau, Edom, and these heathens. And it says, verse 5, if these come to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? Yeah, you're going into Esau, Edom greed, man. Okay, he didn't, conquer the whole world by the way of the blessing of the sword. And now they still ain't satisfied, man. Okay, colonization. Okay, they still, moving towards, more and more by the way of the sword, as they want to force the NWO and come with their technology. And ultimately, like I said, they want to implement that RFID microchip. Okay, to gain more control. Okay, and it says, if grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some grapes? Okay, yes, because Esau want everything for himself. Okay, he don't want to share. Okay, which that's the like I say, the pride. Okay, but they want all things to themselves, even all nations unto themselves. Okay, when it comes to that MOTB that they want to implement. Okay, through the NWO, they want to their system they want to set up. And it says, how art the things of Esau searched out? How are the hidden things sought up? Yeah, because now they're being exposed by the way of the internet. Okay, and by the way of the prophets. Okay. And it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Okay, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and prevail against thee. Okay, as going into how Esau Edom, gather with these other nations by the way of the dollar. Okay, which the dollar is not but Federal Reserve notes. Okay, or debt note. Okay, that these other countries done took on to, such as China, Russia. Okay, the Arab countries. Okay, certain European countries. Okay, but now the dollar more and more coming to the point of obsolete and being a problem. Okay, a debt. Okay, now these other nations are ditching the dollar. Okay, to the point they want to make the come with their own currency. You got the whole BRICS. Okay, financial format that's headed by Russia and China. Okay, which the BRICS acronym BRICS. Okay, meaning what Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And now you don't have other countries that ditching the dollar to join on with the BRICS format. Okay, which they're going to set up their system in the format of a digital currency as well. Okay, when it comes to that RFID micro. Okay, you've seen an example of that over there in China. Okay, which a lot of these nations, even though they're not now they disagreeing with America. Okay, but they ain't leave with a lot of these elites of Esau Edom. Okay, because the elites are the ones that's in power. Okay, but now you're starting to see the division amongst these countries. Okay, when it comes to coming against America, and it says, there's certain trades. Okay, due to the sanctions that America's putting on other countries. Okay, even they putting sanctions on their own allies. Okay, such as over there in the European system. Okay, and what you're seeing now, the European system is crashing. Certain European countries. Okay, and that's all biblical prophecy. Okay, and they're gonna come to the point that a lot of these European countries or NATO, okay, that's allies with America, gonna trade on this place and shoot missiles upon this place. Okay, as well. Okay, right along with Russia, China, and all those that got nuclear capability. And it says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, prevail against thee. They that had eat thy bread had laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay, and once again going into the dollar. Okay, that's on the verge of collapsing. That these nations are ditching. Okay, so we coming to that time. Okay. So we coming to that time. These nations starting to come against America. Okay, look how Trump moving as a madman. Okay, when it comes to these sanctions against these other countries. Okay, and it says, and and they that had eat thy bread had laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Okay, shall I not in that day, say the Lord, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and the understanding out of Mount Esau, out of the Mount of Esau, going to the exposure of the government being exposed. Okay, and it says, and that the mighty men of Teman shall be dismayed. Okay, that's one of the tribes of Esau Edom. Okay, Teman. Okay, that's supposed to be the smart, the wisest tribe. Okay, amongst the Edomites. Okay, which we come to the understanding that they are the Temans today, are the Germans. Okay, and so when it comes to the Germans, they're known for the creation of the atomic warfare. Okay, now it's coming to the point of nuclear warfare. Okay, and now we're coming to the point that all these nations got nuclear capability. Okay, and it says, and that the mighty men of Teman shall be dismayed to the end of every one of the Mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. Okay, and that's going to when the Lord Yahweh shall return, take Esau, Edom, okay, out of power, and they go into captivity for 1,000 years. Okay, the 1,000-year period. Okay, and after that 1,000-year period, the only nation that's going to be done away with are the biblical Edomites. Okay, when it comes to the the whole nation, and it says, For the violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Okay, and going into the shameful history of the enslavement of the Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans here alone in America. Okay, the Atlantic slave trade. Okay, the damn near genocides of the Northern Kingdom. Okay, when it comes to the Hispanics, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay, so the Lord gonna pay them back. Okay, hold on, give me a minute. I'm back. So it says, Obadiah chapter 1, verse 10. For the violence against thy brother Jacob shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Okay, and the hatred that Esau Edom have. Okay, which all stands back to the time of Genesis. Okay, and in history. Okay, ancient history. Okay, ever since the womb. Okay, the book of Genesis. Okay, and it says, in the day thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carry away captive his forces, and foreigners enter to his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them. It going into the time of the Babylonian Empire. Okay, when it comes to when the Southern Kingdom went into captivity up under the Babylonians. Okay, you had Edomites. Okay, that helped the Babylonians. Okay, they helped enslave. Okay, they helped the Babylonians enslave. Okay, the Southern Kingdom. Okay, when it came to Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Okay, which happen to be the Negroes today. Okay, so they always had that pure hatred for us, man. Okay, and like I said, and throughout different various captivities. Okay, the Greco-Roman Empire. Okay, and now still to this day. Okay, give me a minute. I'm back, Salak, for the interruption. I'm outside and everything. And so let me continue on. And it says, like I said, going back to the ancient hatred, okay, when it comes to Esau Edom. Okay, like I said, this is going into verse 11, going into how the time when the Babylonians, okay, took the southern kingdom down, you had Edomites that helped, okay, and it says, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carry away captive his forces, and foreigners enter into his gates, okay, the Babylonians, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, okay, us went into captivity, okay, even thou was as one of them, going to Esau Edom, help oppress, okay, the southern kingdom at that time, when it came to the Babylonian captivity. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Yeah, because Esau Edom, okay, we know that Jacob and Esau was brothers, okay? But the Lord separate us, man, okay, when it comes to the nation, okay? So Esau Edom being broke the brotherly covenant, okay? And it says that he became a stranger, neither should thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Okay, that's going back into the Babylonian captivity. Okay, it's still to this day. Okay, they oppressing us, affording the affliction. Okay, speak lawfully concerning oppression. Okay, as we in this distress. Okay, it is still to this day. They think they're gonna continue to rule over us, man. Okay, and it says, "Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity." Yeah, because when the Babylonians took us out of Jerusalem, okay, not only the Babylonians, seized, our possessions, okay, when we had, the finest things, our material things, but Esau Edom, as the thief that he is, okay, help forward, okay, taking the substance, okay, the goodly things, the resources that we possessed back then, okay. And Esau, you don't always been known to do that when it comes to the nations, but especially the Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, okay. And it says, and neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Yeah, because so you had certain Israelites back then that is, escaped the Babylonian, okay, siege. Okay, but you had Edomites, okay, that was there to help capture, okay, to give them over to the Babylonians. And it said, neither should thou have delivered those of his that did remain in the day of distress. Okay, verse 15. For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen. Yeah, because all of them go into captivity eventually. Okay, starting with the Edomites. Okay, the Babylonians too. Okay, or the ancient, which there was Assyrians. Okay, but during the time of the ancient Assyrians, okay, the Babylonians, the Egyptians, the Hamites, okay, the Chinese, the Japanese, which is Moab and Ammon, Japhet, okay, which they represent the Medes, okay, back then, okay, the Persians, okay, which is the day is modern day Iran, okay, or those tribes amongst Elam, okay, which are the East Indians today, okay, and all those nations going to go into captivity. And the thing about it, all those nations are over here today in America oppressing us right along with Esau, Edom, okay, the Arabs, okay, Ishmael, okay, all of them going to go into captivity, okay. But it says, for the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathens. As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee. Thy reward shall return upon thine own head. Okay, Revelation chapter 13, verse 9. Okay, Jeremiah chapter 30, verses 16 and 17. Okay, and it says, for as ye have drunken upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Okay, that they're coming to that 1,000-year period. Okay, that Esau, Edom, and these heathens going to go into captivity upon us when the kingdom is first established through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai and the nation of Israel ruling. Okay, starting with the elect. Okay, and the heathens that perish on this side or in this lifetime, and they're going to come back in the kingdom, being the sons and daughters of those heathens to be inherited as slaves, man. Okay, and the 2/3 that perish on this side, and they're going to come back as sons and daughters of the elect. Okay, when it comes to the Negro, Latino, Native Americans of Israel that perish on this side. Okay, but it says, but for as ye have drunken upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathens drink continually. Yea, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. Okay, and so they're gonna drink of the cup. Okay, the cup represent the slavery. Okay, the Lord's judgment. Okay, the curses that's gonna be put upon them. Okay, the enslavement. Okay, and it says, but upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness. Okay, starting with the elect. Okay, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. Okay, when we take over, man, under the rule of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay, when the kingdom is established here on the earth. Okay, and the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, going to the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, and the house of Esau for stubble. Okay, and it's going into after the first 1,000-year period, because our kingdom is going to be an everlasting kingdom. But after the first 1,000-year period, okay, of the enslavement of the heathen nations, the only nation that's going to be done away with are the biblical Edomites. Okay, they're going to be rounded up as a nation and burnt. Okay, and I keep it like that. And they shall kindle in them, and they shall devour them, and they shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord has spoken it. And they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau. Okay, so with the land of Esau, Edom, originally, like I say, Mount Petra, okay, which is southern border of Judah, okay, the tribe of Judah and the rest of the Israelites going to take over that landmass, okay, or that plain, okay. and it's, we're gonna extend our kingdom. Okay, after Esau Edom is done away with. Okay, from out of that possession of that land. Okay, and it says, and they of the south shall possess the mount of Esau and the plains of the Philistines. Okay, they're gonna be a complete takeover, and they shall possess the fields of Ephraim. Okay, and the fields of Samaria, and Benjamin shall possess Galilee. Okay, meaning that we're gonna rule. Okay, we're gonna rule not only out of the land of Israel or Jerusalem. Okay, but the whole world we're gonna take over. Okay, and it says in the captivity of this host, in the captivity of the host of the children of Israel shall possess that of the Canaanites, even unto Shapar. Okay, because all these nations are going to go into captivity, even the Hamites. Okay, the original, what they would call the original Africans. Okay, which we know they are the Hamites. Okay, and the captivity of Jerusalem, which is in Shapar, shall possess the cities of the south. Okay, meaning we're going to take over, man. And Savior shall come up on Mount Zion to judge the mount of Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's. Yahweh Shema Shai. Hey, so that's it, man. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the lesson here, and I pray the lesson will edify. Till next time, Lord willing. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Stay strong. We almost home.